All right, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Print and Pretzels. Hopefully you all can hear me. Give me a thumbs up in the chat if you can. I'm reading loud and clear on my end on Streamlabs. We're here with our dill pickle pretzels again from last week. It's quite a big bag of pretzels, so we're going to try to finish out some more. Sorry if you just heard my audio from my computer, but it sounds like you guys can hear me. So, while we wait, I forgot how tangy these are. Oh my word. So, while we wait for a few people to get in, so a couple of things that we're working on here on the channel. One, we're still filming our SCADA series. That's going to be due out here probably in the next couple of weeks. We're recording some footage on that for the different things for the power segment. We're also doing some recording and editing on troubleshooting the Phrozen Arco here. So what we just finished recording is how to disassemble the extruder and get the filament jam. That's the most common reason why there's a clog in the printer. We're editing that now, so hopefully we'll have that out by the end of the week. So you'll be able to see it before our next episode. Now we're going to continue doing a film series like that. So the next thing that I plan on doing is how to do the hot end. Now working with Phrozen to get some of the spare parts sent to us so that we can use those as a demonstration too on our live streams and stuff. So they're helping us out with that. So I'm excited to do that with you all and build that community, because I don't really see a whole lot of troubleshooting guides out there or how-to videos on this machine yet. So maybe we can pioneer that and see what we can get going. We're also getting closer and closer every day to that 1,000 subscriber mark. So if you're watching, you haven't hit that subscribe button. Hopefully you like what we're doing. So smash that subscribe button, hit that like. It helps out the channel get into that sweet YouTube algorithm. We're here with our sparkling ice water. Here's our print from last week. We'll go over that on what we were doing, how it turned out, what we could have done better, and things like that. So let's give a few more minutes for some other people to get in on the stream. Looks like we got a couple of viewers in. We're doing pretty good this week. I'm excited about that video. I didn't realize how much fun making a how-to for this extruder assembly is going to be. I actually, when I first got this printer, I was a little worried that it was going to be hard to work on. But after, I think it's 2 episodes ago now, after that nozzle clog that we had, and I can't remember who commented on it, but they watched our video and they fixed their problem before that whole live stream one ended. That's pretty good. But I was kind of a little nerve-wracked about the extruder, and it kind of looked more complicated than what it actually is, because I'm used to working on the P1S and the P1P and our Centauri carbons, and they're kind of similar nozzles. So this was kind of out of the realm for me. I even have an A1 Mini that's really easy to change out the nozzles, and the extruder gear is a little bit more difficult than that. But getting our hands on this and getting into it really gave me that push to okay, this isn't so complicated. Two of the hardest things that I would say about changing out that extruder assembly is, one, you really got to make sure that you get that ribbon cable off and on there quite right. In the video I'll go over, you want to make sure when you take it off of there, you peel the tape back and you're gentle, because it is connected to a circuit board. And 2, when it gets put back on there, you make sure you seat it properly, otherwise you won't get the proper readings on our printer here. For your heat up and cool downs for your extruder. So that's one of the hard things. And the second, and probably actually more hard to do, is getting the filament cutter to go into its slot. There is a slot that you'll see on the back side of the extruder assembly that it goes into. To check before you completely assemble and just walk away from your machine that it's assembled properly, your filament cutter should pop back out when you hit the tab when you're all done. If it doesn't, that means you're not fully assembled correctly, and you want to take it apart and make sure that's in there properly. I usually lift it up a little bit and then I slide it into the slot as I'm closing up the machine. So that's what we were doing last week. And over the course of this week, we were filming that part. I'm excited for part 2. I didn't realize when I was filming that I actually said nozzle clog in the beginning. That's going to be part 2 of it. So you have to excuse me on that one. But let's see if we can get some more of our friends from the Phrozen Arco Facebook group here to join us. Got that posted over there on the Phrozen Arcos. David Walton, you're joining us. How's it going, buddy? Phrozen just published a video on how to change the cutter, and they show that that very part to make sure the blade aligns to get it right. Yeah, and I'll probably wind up referencing that video in my video, maybe as a timestamp. So that's good to see. I did just see that in the Phrozen FDM group, the backer group, as I just saw it posted in this video. So I'll probably get that filmed out probably in the next couple of days here. I'll get that extruder disassembly film finished, edited. Hopefully by Friday we'll be able to get that on there. I'll go into the hot end next. There's really only 3 screws that you got to take off of there to disassemble that. It's part of kind of like taking the extruder assembly off. So that's why I'm going to do it as a part 2 to this how-to video. And then finally, I'm going to go into the cutter and maybe some of the fan assemblies and stuff. And once I get those parts in from Phrozen, basically I'm going to try to go over all their how-to guides, make the video versions of them myself. I use my GoPro camera, kind of like this setup here, but I use the GoPro. It gets a little bit more video clarity on it, and I can maneuver it a little bit better. And I'll do some voiceovers for that as the directions and stuff. So it'll be my take on how to do it. So I'm super excited about that. These are really salty. So getting into tonight's episode, there's a couple of things that we've printed on the Phrozen Arco. Tonight, what we're doing is we're printing a gift box, a puzzle gift box from Pork 3D over there, Maker World. We are a sponsor of them, or not sponsor, but Patreon backer for them, for their commercial tier. That's what we got on the printer right now. We'll go over that here in a second. Well, let's go over last week's print. And the Blueprint 3D Mario coin bank that we did turned out beautiful. I think there's a couple of things that I really like because we printed it off in the Elegoo Rapid Yellow PETG. It turned out really well. I think for the sheen and the overall texture of it, it turned out great. Especially now that I'm looking at it on camera, that is super shiny. A couple of things that I would note that when we loaded up the file, supports did appear on it. I had a heck of a time getting the supports out of the interior of this, and it wasn't because getting them out of the bottom of the bank was hard. No, they attached really well up here at the top. I didn't change the support Z height layer setting. I should have changed it to 0.28, and I didn't. So that made it really difficult. In fact, when I print this again in the yellow PETG, I will change that setting. Hey, Dante. And the second setting that I would change for that, or for this print, is right here at the top. I might put a modifier in Orca Slicer to where, I'm assuming that I can do this. I haven't tested it out yet. But right up here where the curvature stops, it got kind of rough up here. There's some like bubbling in the PETG. You can't really see it on camera. I have a lot of coins in there. It's about half full. I don't know if you can see it. And it's hefty. But right here towards the top, there's some bubbling, maybe some of the delamination. I think if I change the Z or the layer height to probably 0.1 or maybe an adaptive layer height once we get closer to the top here. I didn't check that setting when I printed off, but all the way up till about right here where the curvature starts coming together, it was doing great. It's a little rougher here, but overall, super thrilled on this print. Those are only two things. Now, what we're printing now by Pork 3D is, let me see if I can find it on Maker World before you guys real quick. What we're printing by them is this puzzle gift box that I want to test out. I want to be able to put our Hatchy Pals and stuff in. It's going to be about the same size as the eggs that we use for our craft fair markets. So what we're doing is we're doing their gift box that they have. That's a puzzle gift box. I can find it here. There it is. Put that in the chat for you all. So now you have to add a sensor that makes the coin sound when you put money in it. Yeah, David, that would be really cool. Cling, cling. I was going to see, I'll have to reach out to Blueprint 3D and see if he can make a Sonic version, like the Golden Rings one too. That would be pretty cool. But here's that file for you all that I'm printing right now over at Maker World. I'm printing that in Elegoo's Rapid. It's like a dark green PETG. Or no, I'm sorry, it's not Elegoo. It's Sunlu PETG olive green. So this is technically the second time that I've had to print this. Something weird happened that I don't know if you guys can see. Oh, I have to turn the camera on. I don't know if you guys can see or not. My camera's disconnected. See if I can't restart this camera here. There we go. Got that camera restarted. So right about where it's at now, I actually timed this pretty well for the live stream. Right about where it's at now, I had a layer shift happen, and I'm not quite sure if it was just an error on the machine or if it was a slicer. So what I can do is I can show you guys here. This is not supposed to be, it's hard for you guys to see on the camera there. I'll see if I can't put like an additional display camera here. But this layer shift happened right, see, you can see where it barely held together right there. And maybe a better way to show you is, so we got the gift box. The PETG seemed like it didn't adhere on that layer, but for some reason, it also slid another direction. So the bottom of the box is here. Let's see if I could see the camera here. Okay, there you go. There's a good view of it. So the bottom of the box is here, and then it shifted over for whatever reason at this particular layer. And I don't know why. I don't know if it was some sort of the slicer flaw or what. But other than that, the sheen on it's beautiful. There's a couple of lines in it though after it does the bottom of the circles on the side, so I'm not sure what's happening there. Maybe I'll print it slower and we won't get that, but it is a very beautiful print for the quality of the sheen, and the lines wouldn't matter too much because there is another part that I have to print that goes over this that would cover most of that up. But this is super exciting to have because I think it's going to be the appropriate size for this, but I don't know why that layer shift happened. So I'm test printing it again, or printing it again to see if it happens again, then I know it's probably a slicer issue, unless I hear some sort of like grinding sound from the machine. But we did have that layer shift, so that was unusual for me to see. Let's see if we got any messages on our chat here. Get some of our handy dandy pretzels here. These are not nearly as powdery as the ones before that for the birthday cake one. Felt like I was eating a bag of sand. But as you can see, some of the other things that we've printed on the Frozen Arco so far, you can see behind the Frozen Arco over there, they actually stick out very brightly. We're printing some graffiti bins in the system for our art fair. That's also going to be part of the Scatus videos that we make later on. We are going to combine those two systems in our videos. If you're wondering what materials those are printed out of, the bins, the drawers, are printed out of Sunlu standard green PETG. This is the olive green. Those are the standard green. And then the white is Elegoo Rapid White PETG. I've got about like 6 rolls of that left before I think I might switch over to Sunlu, because those new rolls that they have are just phenomenal in the AMS systems. And they work flawlessly with the bamboo stuff. So if I happen to have a roll of bamboo for whatever reason, I can, for the refills, if I have a roll of the refill, I can just swap them back and forth. They're almost the same exact size. So lots of videos we got to make. I'm going to do a bamboo or Sunlu video comparison on, the prices of Sunlu are much lower, unless you get bamboo on a clearance sale. So I think that Sunlu's really starting to get their game going on that. I'm also talking to Polymaker to see what they have in their filament profiles and stuff like that. And I've reached out to Elegoo as well, because I like all 3 of those brands. So if I ever had to choose one, it'd be really hard. But so we're doing pretty good. Andrew Krob, I'm excited for the AMS when I get it. I'm ready to try some multicolor prints. Me too, Andrew. I am so excited. We have a festival here or not a festival, but it's I guess it is a festival. It's called the Festival of Lights here in Ludington, Michigan. We reached out to them to see if we can sponsor a Christmas tree or create a Christmas tree for some of the 3D printed stuff that we do here on the channel. And one of the things that I like to do with that AMS, that when it comes in, hopefully it gets here before the end of November. I'm thinking it is. I've seen some of them go out, I think, on the backer page, is our Thor hammer over there. Let me hide the camera real quick so you can see it. So our Thor hammer right up there, that was the hammer itself. The hammerhead itself was printed on the bamboo P1Ss. So I can make that much bigger on here, and I can make it a Christmas tree copper that lights up in the night. I think that'd be excellent to have out there. And I can make that handle, it also lights up. Let me plug it in so you guys can see. I don't know if you've seen it or not, but we'll plug it in so you guys can see what it looks like. Hi Dante, how you doing, buddy? How you doing, buddy? So this is just one of the settings that comes with the USBs. And the lights are really bright in here, so it's hard to see. But it does light up. It looks like lightning bolts going through the handle into the hammer, so it's pretty cool. That's just a prototype that I put together in like a day and a half. I did the prints. I wind up creating a modifier in Orca Slicer for that Lions logo. I pushed it into the hammer so that it goes to the inside and outside, so it can be transparent. I used Strong Hero 3D's blue gradient filament for that, so it's translucent. Same thing for the handle. I wound up putting a modifier in the negative modifier in the handle of a cylinder that goes all the way through it, and I ran the LEDs through it, so that was pretty fun to do. But the handle was printed on the Frozen Arco because I wanted it as big as possible on the biggest printer I have, which is currently the Frozen Arco, that 300mm high build volume. Only problem with Thor hammer is the lion. That's fair. I mean, everybody's got their team. I'm assuming, so Cosmic Prints, that's who created the file. They have a version for, I think, every NFL team. So, and I mean, I could modify it the same way I do for any NFL team. So, or maybe I can do a how-to on a live stream one day if you guys are interested in that. But it was pretty fun to make. I had to do it on 2 different printers, and the LEDs were probably the hardest to run. If I when I did it again, because I have a couple more that are in the process of being made. I made a black hammer because that's our alternate color. I made the cylinder slightly wider diameter, so that way it made it easier to run the LEDs through. Let's turn that printer camera back on so we can see how our layers are going. So it looks like it's, let me take a look at it from my view. Yeah, it looks like it's past that layer that it shifted at, I think. No, not yet. So it looks like it. So this is a piece that shifted. Looks like it's just at, or maybe just past the layer that where it shifted at earlier, and I didn't catch it, so it kept going for a little while. But I really want to see what these look like when they come out, because you won't. Once this file is done printing, and I print the side pieces, then that screw in, you won't see these holes. That actually looks like a Christmas gift, and it's a puzzle. So you screw the ribbon on, and then the screwdriver is hidden inside of the bow of the Christmas present. That's pretty neat. So when we get, I'm gonna have to do it next week. I forgot about it this week. I know last week I was talking to you guys about the Sunlu AMS adapter. I didn't think ahead of time to make sure that my AMSs were, at least one of them were not being used. So I'll have to do that with you guys live next week. I will save one of the boxes to do that live with, because I did make that promise to you. I will also be recording an unboxing of that, because I'm super excited about that. We did get 3 of them, because having that heater and dryer as part of that AMS system, that you can do it while you're printing, is huge. I'm super excited about it. Those are fun gift boxes. David Walton says those are fun gift boxes. I gave one last year that had like 40 plus screws to take off. I don't know how many does this one show in a picture. Let's see. This one says it's got 4 on each side, so it'll be 16 screws. So part of my idea, I don't know if this is one of those concept ideas. So we have eggs that we put our little Hatchie pals into, our Flexi Friends that we sell at our art fairs, and I want to be able to do one of these that they can put it in. So that way they can give it as a Christmas gift. So and it's not just the standard egg that is out there with everybody and their brother that prints the dragon stuff, the articulated dragons, and not to knock anybody that does that. I mean, I do too, because they sell, but to have something as an alternative version for the holidays, I think would be good. And it doesn't have to be holiday colors. I'll print probably red and green ones, obviously, but blue and whites and stuff like that, just to have a few that are themed for all seasons. So that's what our goal is for this little guy. It should be about the same, once it's done, it should be about the same size as the Hatchie Pal egg. I'll have to get one of those out so I can show you guys how cool it turned out. So, doing pretty good on there. Have you guys had any issues with your Frozen Arco in the last week? Like I said, I've had a layer issue, but it's surprising too because I just calibrated the machine when I did that video shooting. I calibrated all the settings. It looks like we're doing pretty good from the live stream angle here. I'm also interested to see if any of that, I can't really show you guys. It's weird. It's like right after this first layer that starts the bottom of the circle, there's like this line that's right here. I don't know what that's all about. The only thing I think of is like the print speed. We got a sleepy kitty cat up there with Dante. He's doing good. So, did you open the door or something while printing? I don't think so, David. I could have, maybe. I very well may could have. I've done that in the past when I was filming. When I did the first set of Greenfinity boxes, I noticed that there was a weird layer line that happened. But this layer line that I'm talking about happens at the bottom of each one of these circles where the screws go in. It's almost like it's going around and it doesn't lay down the filament enough in that spot. So if it happens again on this print, I might slow the speed down a little bit to see if that fixes it. Super excited about that. Trying to figure out what to do with all these scraps. I just toss them out. I watched Uncle Jesse's video on how he like ground up some stuff on, shout out to him, ground up in a blender on that. I tried that. Didn't really work out very well. I wound up with a bunch of powder. So, but if you're just now joining us on the live stream, we are doing a series here. That'll be the first video for the Frozen Arco that we're going to do some of the how-tos on. Is going to be the how to unjam the knot, or the unjam the extruder. I'm really excited about this because there aren't a lot of resources out there about this. I know Frozen's starting to get some of the videos on there. I haven't watched it yet, so I can't say whether I like it or not. I'll probably do that after this. I just saw that they released it, so good timing, bad timing, who knows? But I'll release my own spin on it and break it down and add some commentary on there. I'll do some voiceover on it, making sure I point out things that if you do or do not do this particular thing, that it could harm your printer or it could be beneficial to you if you do it. Like, for example, one of the things that you want to make sure, and I can't remember if it was David or Andrew who said it. It was during that live stream that we were having the struggles with it. Is if you don't seat the ribbon cable back in properly, you won't get proper heating with your machine. So shout out to whichever one of you guys did that for me. I appreciate that. I will notate that in the video that that needs to happen. Otherwise, that's why you'll get that error. So shout out to you guys for that. I appreciate that. That's why we build this community, so that when we do things like this, the information's out there for everyone. You asked about issues we had. Andrew Crop says, you asked about issues we had. I had an issue with my first layer. Ended up doing a probe calibration and raising my Z offset and fixed the issue. Okay. That's good that I fixed the issue. I was having, I think it was the last live stream, I was having issues with my first layer for a little while. But once I did calibration, it seemed to have gone away. So that was, I remember one of you guys saying that, was it, I think it was you, Andrew, that said that there was the calibration and the Z offset that you had to do with this. Was it just one of the PETG filament types that you had to do a Z offset for, or was it just across the board? one of the other things that we've been printing, Andrew Crop said, yes, but that could have been my printer not being set correctly. Haven't tried the eSun PETG again. When you try it, let me know, because I gotta figure out what to print in clear for the eSun PETG, because I do still have that roll over here. I think I have some eSun glow in the dark PETG too, that I can try. But there's also something else that I've printed off more recently, so I can show you guys. So another reason why I print these bins out is because they're super handy to have for our Hatchie Pals. So the display will go, for those of you that like our pairs, if not, bear with me. The display where you put the Hatchie Pals will go up here on top on the Gripfinity system. So, but one of the ones that we printed was a request for one of our art fairs that we just did here in Pentwater, and we printed out some lions for Cinderwing 3D for their, she calls them hatchlings, and we printed out some standard lions, and they sold pretty decently. But we did have some people say that we missed out on an opportunity, and shout out to them. I don't know why I didn't think of this, but we should have printed them in Honolulu blue and silver. I'm also going through and doing their kitty cats in navy blue and orange for the Detroit Tigers as well. We are in Michigan here. So these turned out really good. I don't know if you can see them on camera. Maybe I can hold it up in front of this camera for a second, but they're pretty cool. They got the blue and Honolulu blue and silver going on. So that's our little friend, lion friend that we printed out. So they're pretty cool to have around. They're really good sellers if you do art fairs. And once I get the system ironed out on how we display them, we get lots of compliments on our colors and stuff. But back to tonight's episode, though, if you're just now joining us on the live stream, we struggled a little bit with that first live stream when we were doing our nozzle unclogging and figuring out what was going on with it. It was 2 episodes ago, I believe now. It was a roll of filament that was not, it was the first time I've ever had issue with Elegoo's PETG, and it just had a bunch of gunk in the line. I don't know, but I want to figuring that out because I tried it in different machines and it clogged them all. But we had suggestions from our viewership here on the channel that we should do some how-to videos, so we are going to do those. I was editing some of that today after work and before the live stream, so once I get the editing finalized and the description and thumbnails created for that episode, it'll be the extruder gear assembly that we'll be breaking down first, followed by the hot end. We'll do that next because that's like part 2 of it, and then we'll go over Phrozen's website and see what some of the other common issues that they say that's out there. We'll do some filming on that, just so you guys have that information. Because it's good to build the community together. I really enjoy doing this with you all. So, but we're working on figuring out exactly what filaments we like to print with. Right now, I'm really a big fan of Sunlu. Those new spools that they got out that are like bamboo spool clones are super awesome. I have started using the Elegoo refills. Those are also work on the bamboo and Sunlu rolls. I can verify that. So those are pretty good to have. I do want to state that if you guys do use Elegoo or any cardboard rolls, if you have bamboo AMSs, they will void your warranty. I don't know about the Phrozen one yet. I haven't got clarification on that for the Chroma Kit. If you get discount codes for Polymaker, I would like to use it. Last year, they sponsored gifts for kids in need by a YouTuber, Loyal Moses. Also, do you have a Sunload discount code? Andrew, yes, I do have a Sunload discount code. Thank you for that. I will put that in the episode description. Give me 2 seconds so that you guys can have that. That way, it's there permanently. YouTube's your studio. That way, you guys can see what that is. So in here, gotta go to edit. I'm working on getting one for Polymaker. They actually just emailed me today on that. I'm seeing if I can't get into this part of their wholesaler program. And as like a person who uses a lot of filament. So as I get these codes, I have one for Elegoo too. I don't remember what it is right now. Sunlu filament code. As I get these codes, I will get them loaded in for you guys. Be glorious. You'll get a little bit of a discount with the Sunlu filament code. I want to say it's like a % or two, and then it gives us a % or two kickback. So it's pretty cool about that. And if you haven't checked out our filament connector review video, we did do that a while back. It was pretty entertaining. Got to see all the cats doing their thing while I was connecting all the filaments together. It was probably 8 hours I filmed, and I time-lapsed it for you all. But here is that updated description for you all. I'll also put it in the chat. Sunlu filament code. Be glorious. So you'll get a kickback on that, or you won't get a kickback. I stay corrected. I'll get a kickback on that. You'll get a slight discount. What it won't apply to is anything that is already on like a clearance sale or something that's at like their bottom line. But if you order, like right now, I just ordered some Sunlu filament from them, and I can't use it, but I did see that it was eligible for it. You can't use my own affiliate code, so that's part of the stipulations of having the affiliate code. So, but we're doing pretty good. Eventually, once I get things cleaned up here in the studio, I'll have some of the light boxes and stuff. I have some of the bamboo light boxes that I printed off. And I've got one for Elegoo and Frozen as well that I've had created from Blueprint 3D. He does custom light boxes, so since we support him or them on their commercial license on Maker World, that we get 5 light boxes a month that we can custom make, or get custom made for us. This is the bamboo light box that we have for there. We also are going to do a Sunlu one, a Elegoo one, and a Frozen one. I believe we have an eSun one too, because I do have a little bit of eSun that I use. So I'll see if I can get a Polymaker one done too if we get them. And I'll have them displayed up there once we get things more organized. Something to note for the development of the channel, because you guys are a wonderful community and you have been here with us for a little while now, for a few months since we've started this journey. We are in the process of upgrading another makerspace so that we have a little bit more room to do filming and have expand our printer lines. That's exciting. We are going to the next couple of weeks get that space finished. I have some paneling or some OSB to put up out there, and then some paneling, and then I'm definitely going to deck it out in the SCADA stuff that we have, get it all organized and stuff in the free time. So, which there isn't much of that is with the newborn, but he's going on the maker journey with me. So shout out to Gizmo Gambit. Love you, buddy. And then my wonderful fiance, Abby. She's super supportive on that, and I appreciate everything she's done for us here at the channel. So, but that's some of the things that we have in the works right now. Our next show that we're going to be at is going to be at our local elementary school here on November 15th. We do have a double booth there. We are going to raffle off some holiday dragons that just like we did for the Petwater Fall Festival. So we'll get that going. I'm still working out on how I can do like the raffle and stuff and include people from the channel as well, because it's a little bit difficult with the paper tickets and then the electronic YouTube subscribers and stuff. So, but once we get to that 1,000 subscriber mark, and I think it's 3,000 watch hours, then we can start having channel memberships, and maybe some of the content creators that I watch over on Detroit Den 313, I get to watch them grow, and once they started doing their members tiers and stuff, they'll have 2 giveaways. They'll have a subscriber giveaway, and then they'll have a members giveaway. So I think that's a good way to do things too. This is all stuff that we're checking out as we grow as a channel. And I think what will help us do that is making these how-to videos, making these makerspace organization videos, and also having these community days on Wednesday nights. So eventually, the Phrozen Arco will become part of our mainline setup, and then we'll have another new printer that we'll have to cover. And whether that'll be the U1 first or that'll be the H2C first, I don't know. We'll see which one we can get our hands on first. So we're excited about both of those because of the lack of purge material is going to be huge for us since we do so many multicolor prints. So we're super excited about that. So stay tuned for those things. I'm super, super thankful for you guys as a community. If you want to email me a place that I can send a sticker to you, I would love to do that. I still have some stickers left over. You can email us at thegloriousgeeks01@gmail.com. Put that in the chat. It's something small that I can do for everyone that is an attendee of the channel that has been here for a while. Andrew, I did this week get yours out in the mail to you when I went. I think it was Friday. Yeah, it was Friday that I went to the post office and got your sticker out to you. David, I saw a video today on doing maintenance on the H2S. Oh my God, they use all these tiny ribbon cables in the tool head. I would not want to work on that. Oh, so I agree. Some of these tool changers that are going to be coming out, they're probably going to have a lot of those ribbon cables because there's probably going to be a lot of sensors and things on there. So maybe that'll be one of the things that we make the how-to videos. And if we break something, you'll get to see us do it in action. Andrew, I haven't checked the mail yet. That's okay. It went in a letter, so it could take, with the government shutdown, I don't know, it could take a little while. But we did get that out to you. Super. Actually, I think I sent 2 stickers for you in there. One for you and one for a friend if you have a friend that would like a Glorious Geek sticker. But we're doing pretty well here on the channel. We're doing exciting things. And I'm glad that we all get to grow together and have these Wednesday nights to explore these Kickstarter printers. I guess maybe that's what we'll do. These Kickstarter printers on Wednesday night. I think one of the things that I might try to do, and this will be like the next thing that I get to, Andrew Cropp says, David Walton, sounds like it's getting similar to how cell phones have become. Yeah, I think the more technology advances, the more complicated and sensor dependent they get. I think one of the things that I'd like to do on the channel here at some point is use Streamlabs to try to hook up a webcam to every printer so you guys can see what we got going on, what printer, at what time. Be some cable management and some USB cables that need to be hooked up. But hey, over time, that'd be cool to have. You guys can help me monitor them all, so we don't get too many of these things going on. But it is pretty fun to do as a community. I will say that. I am very, very happy to be here. So when it comes to jamming this nozzle or extruder gear assembly, one of the things you're going to want to be careful of, this case came to my mind, is when you go to grab the filament that's stuck in that extruder, because the gears force the filament down through it, but there's like a gap, maybe half a centimeter between the gears and where the filament goes into the hot end assembly. When you take it out of there, be very careful. It's hard to get your fingers in there. What I did, and I don't know if this is a recommended thing by Phrozen or not, I can't speak on their behalf. What I did, so once I had it off of there, the extruder assembly off of there and in my hand, I took my pair of needle nose pliers because there wasn't any ribbon cables where the gears are or anything I was worried about catching with my pliers. These can get in where my fingers can't to grab the filament and pull it out of there. And you'll see me do that in the how-to video once I get that out of there, or once I get that out. So something that I would recommend is a good pair of needle nose pliers. I wouldn't recommend. Do I have them down here? I have a giant set of needle nose pliers. Needle nose pliers. Yeah, here they are. This is actually how I got the supports out of this thing. So I'm a big Cobalt fan. So, but I actually had to stick these all the way up in there and get those supports out of there because they were being so difficult. So, but a good pair of needle nose pliers for that extruder gear assembly is important. So I'll make that note there for you guys. And don't forget to heat up your hot end before you move it, and hit the extrude button twice just so it like the filament congeals together, and then retract so that way you get the most amount of filament out of that nozzle clog area that you can. Something that I'll note in the video for you guys on the live stream, I'll tell you ahead of time. After working on the hot end assembly and the extruder gear assembly probably over a dozen or more times, I really realized that before I start working on it, to bring it, open up the door, bring it all the way forward, and have it right there at working shoulder height, since the printer is up on the shelf. Having it right there at a height that is manipulated easily will save your back a ton of frustration. Not to mention that you get better lighting and all sorts of stuff. It was actually really easy to video too. There's some good shots for the video that I've got coming out. All right, so it looks like we have made it past the point of previous failure, because now we are where it is making the circles. Now what I want to see is how well are we doing those screw hole circles. So it's still doing that gap or that issue per se right there after the circle, but it's not doing it out into the print. So it's okay if it's doing it in this line here, because that's where the ribbon goes, the next print, the ribbon goes over it. So I'm not too worried about that. It wasn't until the third hole up that it started doing it out in the print. So we'll see how well that goes on. How we're doing on time here. Got about 15 minutes before 9. And this filament color kind of looks like a baby poop green on camera. It's a little bit more of a mauve green in real life. Just like when we did one of the first test prints for the Frozen Arco, that yellow translucent filament went in looking green. It's the color of the walls down here in the studio. That blue makes things look a different color. So if you're watching and you're excited for your chroma kit to get there, what are you going to print first with it? I'm still undecided. I will say I got a weird shipping notification from Big Tree Tech. David Walton. What color will the screws be? Oh, I don't know. I didn't even think about that. I can make the screws a different color too, can't I? It's a good idea. I might just print a bucket of screws and let people put their own in there. But I did get a weird shipping notification from Big Tree Tech about some sort of conveyor belt assembly that was shipped to me. I'm not sure if that's related to Big Tree Tech themselves sending me something, or if that has to do with the conveyor belt assembly that comes with the Phrozen Arco chroma kit. Because I did reach out a little while back to Big Tree Tech to see if they wanted to send me anything to review, and I didn't really hear anything back. So maybe that's them doing that, or maybe it's the Phrozen Arco's conveyor belt assembly for the purge system. I don't know. I haven't seen any updates on that shipping notification, but it seems to be like every time I live stream on Wednesdays, I get something the next week when the big things are coming. So maybe we will get the chroma kit, and then I'll see if I can't do like a how-to video to install it. I'm gonna have to print those spacer things for here pretty soon. Just a note about the dill pickle pretzels: don't eat more than one or two of them at a time, because it just becomes overwhelming. They're good, just in small doses. David Walton says, Frozen website only shows the printer ship. It doesn't show the Pentashield ship, but I have that. Insane. I don't know why. Let me see if I can find it real quick. I don't remember which email it was on, because I backed this printer with my personal email. Big Tree. Let's see here. No, I don't think it was that one. Huh. I'll have to find it, and then when I do, I'll have more information for you guys. But it was weird. It was like popped up on my uh, Shopify profile, and the only other time I've gotten things that pop up on there, it's for FedEx and it's for the Frozen Arco. So that's what I'm hoping. It's that assembly that they shipped out. Uh, and I don't know if you guys noticed, maybe it might not even be going anymore. Let's see. On Frozen's website, I think they had a trick or treat for their filament materials. Filament. Looks like they don't have it going anymore. But they did have, and I didn't get in on it. It was like buy four get four free, but you had to like have a minimum shipping order of like $250. I was like, I don't buy that much filament at one time usually, but uh, it was a lot to have like a minimal shipping order. So I do have a couple of other rolls that came with my Pentashield when I got here. So once I get the chroma kit, I'll probably do my first prints with that material, just because it's from Frozen, and I'm sure it's what they recommend going through their AMS system. David says, yeah, that was buy four, get four was like $59 for shipping, hard pass. I know that $59 for shipping might as well be those four of the rolls. I think, how do you like, Andrew says, how do you like the Sunlu high-speed matte PLA? I actually haven't tried their matte PLA yet. I want to. I think the only matte PLA that I've tried is Elegoo's PLA. I will say their their PLA 2.0 is really good. I feel like I can print pretty fast with that. I don't have any issues with that. Our next filament order, I'll get some of that matte PLA, and I'll be able to answer that question better for you. And be able to do some of these gift boxes in matte PLA. I just don't want to do too many NPLA because when we're at the art fairs, I've noticed some things with PLA because of the sun, and they'll start to warp a little bit. So anything that I'm going to have sitting out in the sun, especially when it gets warm during the summer months, which thankfully we won't have any more of those here. Technically summer is over, so we shouldn't have any more. But I won't get that warpage. The PETG handles the sun just fine. Our eggs are sitting out there all day long and didn't phase them one bit. So, but if you're just now joining us on a live stream, we are talking about the Phrozen Arco and some of the troubleshooting things that we've done on with it. 2 weeks ago on our live stream, we went over how to unclog the extruder assembly and getting that jam filament out of there. Then offline, I went in deeper to get some of the gunk out of the hot end. I learned how to disassemble that, so that's pretty cool to do. I'm working with Phrozen to get some spare parts over here so I can do some filming for you all. And one of the things that I'm going to do is the cutter. Obviously, that's a pretty important one, but that kind of goes, I think, hand in hand with the extruder assembly. So it might be like a bonus video I add on at some point. One of the things I want to do are some of the non-common parts. One of the things that I reached out to Phrozen for a part was the cooling fan, the part cooling fan, that fan you see right on the front. I haven't heard of any of them failing yet, and Phrozen doesn't even have like the price listed for those for that particular part yet. So they're working on that and getting that back, getting that quote back to me on that. But I do want to have that video out there for you guys because some of the other printers that I have, eventually that fan will fail just because it runs so often and so frequently. So I'm going to try to do that. There was one other piece too that I was going to try to do some filming on. What was it? I don't remember what it is right now, but there's like 4 or 5 different ones that I tried to think out of the box on, like what could fail, what's failed on my other printers. And this will be a series that I'll record over time so that you guys have these videos out here. I'm thrilled to be able to do this for the community. I know the Phrozen Arco community might be small, but we're mighty. Wait, isn't it mighty? Isn't that one of their models of printer? I gotta look now. That is, I didn't do that on purpose. Yeah, it sounded like mighty. That was not intentional, but that was funny. So we're at the second circle now, which is 50% farther than we got the first time, and we're doing much better. This is the second type of PETG that I've used on here, and I've not had an issue now that we've gotten that updated slicer settings and stuff. Whether it's Sunlu or Elegoo, I can vouch for them both. The only downside about Elegoo was that one, and it was not even the whole roll. It was like the last quarter of the roll had a bunch of stuff either in it or on it, and clogged up the nozzle on this printer and all the other nozzles I tried it on. So, but other than that, I've never had an issue with Elegoo's Rapid PETG or their PETG Pro. Andrew Krabs says, I'm impressed with the community after people started getting their Arco. Me too. I think that the community has really come together around this Phrozen Arco, and I hope that it encourages Phrozen to keep on keeping on with their FEM venture. I think they could really do something, especially seeing the innovations that they did with this with this printer at the time of its launching, I think they could do some really cool things with it. I would love to see what their take is on the tool head changers that are coming. That's where the printers are going to. So I really, really think that they could do some good for the community in that makerspace too, to be able to eliminate the purge. I hope that we're doing cool things with them when that time comes, because I would love to be on that frontier with them. So we're uh, going to continue on with our Frozen Arco as long as we can. I actually really, really like this printer. The flying gantry is the part that I like the most. I haven't worked on the belt on it yet, so I don't know how much of a complication that is, but I'm sure eventually we'll get to that. Knock on wood, hopefully we don't have to anytime soon. But I like the fact that the lower center of gravity is key for this printer. I think if other printer brands may use that in their designs, I think it would make their vibration compensation maybe a little bit better, and uh, it would just make overall more stability. This giant machine doesn't shake this stand at all. My Elegoo Centauri carbons, forget it. I have to put a rubber mat underneath them in order for them not to shake. Same thing with my P1Ss. You know, with the higher center of gravity, they shake a little bit. So, I mean, you can see that. I don't know if you guys can see, but the SCADAS panel that I have on the side of it shakes from time to time. This printer doesn't budge an inch. David Walton. Although, come on, who else has a conveyor belt to remove poop? Yeah, I know. I've seen some of that. It is pretty cool. I've seen some of the like the mods in the community to do. I'm really happy that they're doing that, because that poop chute in the back is a little bit different design, is what I would say. And I'm not sure how I'm going to work that into the poop chute bins that I have below. You can see one of them over here, below the P1S here. It was literally goes straight from the back of the printer. There's a hole in the shelf that I cut, and it goes right down. And I do use one file for you all. I can share that with you. I want to make sure I give credit where credit is due. Let me look it up on MakerWorld real quick. Poop chute. I want to say it was the BUR. Yep, there it is. So this is what I have on the back of the printer. Instead of using the magnets, though, I use 3M strips, and it works just as good. I just can't remove them as easily as a magnet would do. But let me get this to you guys right here. So that's what I use in the back of our printer here, our printers, the 3 of them that we have. I initially tried to go through it and then put that little curved piece on underneath it and use the drawers for it, but I couldn't quite close the drawers far enough, so I went to this system instead, which makes it much more easy to take out. I sound like a sanitation worker to take out the poop. I can just, these bins are on wheels. I get them from Meyer here in Ludington. It's our version of I want to say Walmart. We have a Walmart too, but it's that one of those box stores. But they roll out, and I can just take them up to the garbage can outside and dump them into it. So I also throw like our bags of that come with our filament into there too, just to collect all. But that's what we got going on there. Andrew Crumpton, by the way, that extruder is very strong. I have a Solvol dryer and had a tangle in my filament. Lifted the whole thing up. Are you talking about the extruder for the Frozen Arco? That's one thing I need to get for the channel, is I don't have a filament dryer per se, just for spools that are sitting out. Right behind where the camera is sitting right now, I have my collection of filament that's not being used currently. Okay, yeah, so I did not know that the extruder was that strong. Uh, right off the top of my hand, I can't remember. Are the extruder gears I mean, I'll be able to see it when I go to edit the video later, but I can't remember off the top of my head. Are the extruder gears plastic or are they metal? Because I remember I work on the P1Ss and Centauri carbons all the time, and I couldn't tell you. They all blend together eventually. I want to say I remember them being metal, like hardened gears. I know this P1Ss are not because I had to upgrade. I think it's the one behind me to hardened gears so that my filament, glow in the dark filament, didn't tear it up. You gotta get down, Riley. Come on, buddy. Come on, buddy. There you go. So I don't remember if they're. Oh, Andrew Cobb says they are metal. Oh, cool. So I had a feeling that they were. I just couldn't remember off the top of my head, even though I've had it apart 15, 20 times now, including once today when I was filming and editing. But it's good to know that when they sent it, we didn't have to upgrade them later if we wanted to print with more abrasive filaments. Yeah, the P1, David, the P1S is not hardened. So I actually wound up purchasing from Big Tree Tech their hardened version of extruder gears. I also purchased their, it's like a thing that opens up the extruder gear assembly so you can get into it without having to remove it. Let's see if I can find it on their website. Big Tree Tech. I will say the Arco, now that I've had the assembly apart, is much easier to take apart than the P1S, in my opinion. Because getting that extruder gear assembly on the P1S, it is a pain, especially when you get a jam in there. And it's always what's the smallest piece of filament that gets jammed in there, and they got to take the whole thing apart. And you still have to remove a ribbon cable, just like with the Arco, but to take apart their extruder gear assembly, I feel like there's 3-4 more screws. Then you have to take the extruder gears off to get that out one section. With this, you don't have to take the extruder gears off. Like I said, you can reach in there with a pair of pliers, pull it out. 5 minutes, 10 minutes later, you can be back up and running. But it's in comparison, we haven't had the Frozen Arco a long time yet. I mean, a couple months, yeah. But I've been printing with the P1S for 2.5 years now, and 95% of the time it just works. I don't have any issues with it. That's one of the biggest selling points for me. If this printer is the same way, it'd be a huge selling point for me. If it just works and I don't have to replace things, it already comes with those hardened extruder gears. It comes with those other nozzles. I did order some more of their nozzles that they have. And I can print with those more abrasive filaments like glow in the dark. I will use this printer more frequently than I will with my P1Ss for those abrasive filaments, because I don't feel like my P1Ss handle those the greatest without those extra upgrades. And if I don't have to pay for them and they already come with the printer, that's a pretty big bonus in my book. Like for Halloween, I did a lot of glow in the dark filament this year for our art fair stuff, and it tore up. I mean, the PTFE tubes is always going to tear up. This works with PTSE tubes, so it'll tear those up. But those are easy to replace usually. Not so much tearing up plastic extruder gears. It came with one of the hardened nozzles. The Arco came with one of the hardened nozzles. I had to upgrade to the hardened steel nozzles with the Bamboo P1Ss. So coming out of the box, being able to print with those abrasive filaments is nicer. I will say that. It's got a bigger build volume. So I want to give credit where credit is due. I am very happy that Phrozen did that for us as a community, that gave us those things as part of us being Kickstarters. And I'm pretty sure that when you get the printer, it comes with those stock too. Andrew Crowd, are you going to change the nozzle to the hardened one? I believe I have changed the nozzle to the hardened one. No, I don't. Maybe I haven't yet. I do have a couple on order from Frozen. I'm just waiting for them to confirm that last part so I can place that order. I'm not sure where my nozzle is yet at this time. Another thing I am working on is getting some organization for the various printers. Now that I've got 3 different kinds of printers, or 3 different brands of printers, I've got to work on how to keep the parts separate. That's one of those maker videos that I'm going to make. But I believe I either have the hardened nozzle on there, or I have the engineering nozzle on there. One of the two. I know I don't have the original one on there anymore because I ruined that one. Oops. I ruined that one at the same time I ruined that build plate a few weeks back when I got that Penta Shield installed, and I didn't do that bed leveling calibration. Don't forget to do that, kids. When you put on your Penta Shield, do that bed leveling first and foremost. Also do that bed leveling when you do your extruder gear unjamming. Anytime you mess with any parts, always, always, always do a calibration, a full system calibration, including a bed leveling first. So you're not grinding away your build plate like I did. When I get my new build plate, I'll show you what the old one looks like. It's pretty bad. I'm going to be known like Uncle Jesse for his doors. It's going to be me with build plates. So let's see. We're at halfway to the third circle. Third circle is where that weird line started happening on one of the sides. Actually, it was formed like this. Well, technically, how are we doing on the line? So I'm looking at the second version. So it did do it on this side, those lines on the side. So the next time I slice this, I'm going to slow the speed down and see how well it does. But it's printing the file just fine. There's no more layer adhesion issues or weird layer sliding. I'm wondering if I should print the screws in. I want to do red ribbon. I got a really cool red gradient filament to use. I'm wondering if I should print for Christmas colors. I know green and red are together. What's a third color we could put in there? Drop it in the chat if you think of a third color we could put in there for the screws that would go well with green and red. I plan on doing a silver and gold version at some point out of PETG. I just gotta find a good gold PETG. This is as close as I can find for like a silk gold. David Holden gold. Yeah. So unlike PLA, there's not a whole lot of color schemes available for PETG that I've seen. There are some better companies out there, like I think G-Tech was one of them that had a really cool silver that they had out there, and a cool green sparkle. David says or white. Andrew says silver. Blue might also work. Yeah. I think blue would. I have the same blue that I use for the lions in there. That's a really shiny, cool blue. And it would give it like a cool vibe to it. So I'll do that. What I'll do is I'll print guys, I think on the build plate, it prints the screws and the ribbons at the same time. I'll probably print a set of red and I'll print a set of blue and then mix and match them. I got some cool sparkle PETGs too. There's definitely not as many colors out there for PETG as there is for PLA. It's slowly expanding for sure, but uh, I want the durability and the heat resistance of PETG for these ones. So, but I don't know if you guys can see it in the live stream or not on the camera. Yeah. So if you look at that first hole, you can see right on the side there, you can see that there's kind of like a where the glare doesn't really hit it. Right there is where that's happening. That it's almost like it's not pushing enough filament out at that point. And then it continues on and it catches up with itself. So I think it's either a flow calibration issue or it's just printing too fast for the material, but I don't feel like I'm printing all that fast. And I am using the Sunloose filament profile for this. It's amazing on how that green sticks out on camera. But put this back over here. I gotta get that frozen one out. I requested a different type of frozen light box. That one is just kind of flat. The frozen one, you actually will push through the light box to the front and it illuminates better. So excited for that. Get some of those printed out, get them up, get that brand representation going for the channel. We're not sponsored by anyone, just so everyone knows. We're not sponsored by Frozen or Bamboo or Elegoo. We're just printers that we've collected over the years and we use them. Oh, I did mention on the last live stream that we did that I'm going to get a PO box. I am still in the works on that. When I went to the post offices last time, I did forget. I had like 4 or 5 Etsy orders I had to get out at the same time, and there was quite a line. So I forgot. I will get it the next time I go to the post office. So, but if you're just now joining us on the live stream, if you like what we're doing for the community, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, get us out in that big old YouTube algorithm, so we can help out the community on these new printers that are coming out, on how to do the troubleshooting for the extruder gear assembly. For this one is what we're releasing probably later this week. We're wrapping up the editing on that, and right now I'm doing the voiceovers for it, and we're doing some really fun things. I did not realize how much fun I was actually going to have doing these how-to videos. They were kind of daunting in the beginning. So it was a relief that once I finally got my feet in the pool, it actually is not that scary. It's actually less scary than what I pictured live streaming. A live stream was like you don't get to edit out your errors. They happen on camera and they stay on camera. So if you ever get into the market of doing how-to videos, they're pretty fun to do. You get to do cool sound effects and stuff like that too. But I'm glad everybody gets to watch us do this community thing together. For those of you that have been with us since the beginning of our live streams, thank you for your support and your continued support and those continued watch hours. Those are helpful every week. We're building them up over time, and we'll get to that sweet 1,000 subscriber mark here soon. If you guys have any suggestions on what we can do a how-to video on the Phrozen Arco that I haven't talked about previous on a live stream, drop them in the comments, because I'm curious. Outside of the extruder assembly, have you guys had any other issues that you'd like to have documented as a how-to video? I definitely will be into doing that, because I am a fan of this printer. I was a little worried in the beginning with the hot end assembly, because when you take it off there, it does look a little daunting. But I'm have become a fan of it, actually, believe it or not. And that is not because we're sponsored by Frozen. We are not. So it's just because I like the openness of it. It's bigger. It is definitely a bigger hot end assembly, but being able to get at least a pair of pliers in there to pull out the filament makes it so much easier to work on. And it's 3 screws, and it comes apart. 3 screws and some cable pulling out of connectors. It's not hard at all. It's more daunting than it looks, or less daunting than it looks. So to sum up tonight's video, some of the things that we learned about our Mario coin bank from last week is when we go to slice things, we got to make sure if there are supports on it, especially with PETG because it adheres to itself really well. To have our Z layer height or Z offset height adjusted to be either 0.24 or 0.28, depending on what filament profile you use, whether it's Elegoo or Sunloom. That might make a difference, but we had the standard, I think it was 0.18, and it was a pain. I had to use those long pliers right here to get it to reach into the piggy bank and pull out the supports, and it was tough. It took me probably 30 minutes to get them out of there. So I learned that, and then with the top of the coin, I would recommend if you go to print that, if you're using PETG, I think PLA would be fine. But with PETG, I think slowing the speed down at the top and maybe reducing the layer height would help the PETG to adhere to itself, because there is some bubbling up here. You can't really see it on camera, but there is a little bit of bubbling. So that's the lessons that I learned from last week with the Phrozen Arco. I don't really get that issue on my other printers, so I'm not sure why that happened, but I've never printed anything this fall either, so could have been a number of things. To sum up our extruder gear assembly video that we're doing, it is going to break down how to take apart your extruder assembly and to get some filament out of there if it gets if it snaps off in between the extruder gears and does not go into the filament to the hot end. So be on the lookout for that. That should be coming later this week as we wrap up the editing on that video. And what we're printing tonight and troubleshooting tonight is what happened with our layer here. We had a layer shift happen on this gift box, puzzle gift box by Pork 3D that we're printing out as a test print for our upcoming holiday art fair. But we had a layer shift happen, and I wasn't quite sure why it happened. So I'm not sure if it was just random and a computer ghost error, but it didn't happen again in the same spot. So I think it has cleared itself out. So we are reprinting that. There is some things to take away from this. I think when you're printing with PETG, even using the Sunloom PETG profile like I'm using with the film I'm using, I still think I'm going to slow it down a little bit, because as I look at this print and I look at the one that's on the printer right now, you guys can see it. It still has a little bit of, after it goes by and those overhangs in the circles, it still has a little bit of, it's almost like it doesn't push out enough filament. So I think going slower would help that out. So that's what we're doing for the Phrozen Arco. So if you guys have been watching, I appreciate your attendance tonight for tonight's video. If you haven't by now, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, help out get us into that 1,000 subscriber mark. And we'll see you again next week on Print Pretzels. And until next time, be glorious.